In 1964, the United States Mint was operating under immense pressure. The coin shortage had reached a boiling point, and production demands surged to meet the needs of a rapidly expanding economy. The Lincoln cent, already a staple of American currency since 1909, was being struck in massive quantities at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The composition remained the classic 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc alloy, and the design, Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, was still relatively new, having replaced the wheat ears just 2 years prior. But in the chaos of high-speed minting and relentless die usage, something slipped through the cracks. The error wasn't immediately obvious. It didn't scream for attention like an off-center strike or a missing mint mark. It was subtle, buried in the details, waiting for someone with patience and a trained eye to uncover it. That someone was Harold, a retired machinist turned coin collector who spent his evenings sorting through rolls of pennies with the same precision he once applied to metalwork. He wasn't chasing fame or fortune, just the quiet thrill of discovery. One evening, while examining a roll of 1964 D. Lincoln cents he'd picked up from a local bank, Harold noticed something odd. The coin in question had a slightly thicker rim on one side, almost like a shelf. He tilted it under the light, and the anomaly became clearer. The rim wasn't uniform. It had a raised edge that ran from about 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock on the obverse, a classic sign of a partial collar strike. Intrigued, he flipped the coin over and noticed that the reverse was slightly rotated, just a few degrees off from true coin alignment. It wasn't dramatic, but it was enough to raise questions. He examined the obverse more closely. The date, 1964, looked normal at first, but the 4 had a faint doubling at its base. Liberty showed a similar effect, with the B and E appearing slightly shadowed. Under magnification, the doubling wasn't flat or shelf-like, which would suggest mechanical doubling. It had depth. It looked like a true double die. Harold's heart began to race. He'd seen plenty of minor errors before, but this coin was different. It had multiple anomalies, each subtle but significant, that he posted images to a coin forum, detailing the partial collar, the rotated reverse, and the possible double die. Responses were mixed. Some dismissed it as die deterioration. Others saw the potential. One veteran collector messaged him privately, asking for more photos and offering to buy the coin outright. Harold declined. He wasn't ready to part with it. Not until he understood exactly what he had that he sent the coin to a grading service, requesting a full error analysis. Weeks passed. When the slab finally arrived, Harold stared at the label. 1964, D. Lincoln cent, double die obverse, partial collar, rotated reverse, 58 billion Australian dollars. The grade wasn't mint state, but the coin's surfaces were clean, its details sharp. The designation confirmed what Harold had suspected. This wasn't just an error. It was a layered anomaly, a coin that told a story of mechanical missteps and overlooked details. Collectors began to take notice. The coin was featured in a numismatic newsletter, and Harold received offers ranging from $500 to $1,200. He still held firm. The coin wasn't just valuable, it was unique. It had survived decades in circulation, bearing the scars of its birth and the wear of its journey. It was a survivor, and Harold wasn't ready to let it go. Then came the twist. A researcher named Linda, specializing in mint production records, reached out after seeing the coin featured online. She had been studying a batch of Denver mint logs from 1964 and found a curious entry. A shipment of backup dies from a private engraving firm had been received and temporarily used during a die shortage. These dies had been flagged for minor hubbing inconsistencies, but were pressed into service due to production demands. Linda believed Harold's coin had been struck using one of these dies that were never supposed to be used, and whose errors were quietly buried under the weight of urgency. The implications were staggering. Harold's coin wasn't just a mint error. It was a relic of a behind-the-scenes compromise, a physical record of a moment when the mint bent its own rules to keep up with demand. The partial collar strike suggested the coin was struck during a period of mechanical instability, possibly during a press restart. The rotated reverse hinted at a misalignment during die installation, and the double die obverse pointed to a flawed hubbing process, likely from the outsourced dies. With Linda's research backing the coin's origin, its value began to climb. Auction houses expressed interest. A private collector specializing in transitional and undocumented errors offered $3,500. Harold considered it, but ultimately declined. He wanted the coin to be properly documented, to be part of the official record. He worked with Linda to submit a detailed report to the combined numismatic era registry, and the coin was officially listed as the 1964 D-triple anomaly Lincoln cent. The listing sparked renewed interest. Collectors began searching their own rolls of 1964 D-cents, hoping to find similar examples. A few surfaced, coins with partial collars, others with minor reverse rotations, but none matched the trifecta of Harold's find. His coin remained the benchmark, the prototype, the one that told the full story. In 2021, Harold finally agreed to consign the coin to a major auction. The catalog description was extensive, detailing the historical context, the mechanical anomalies, and Linda's research. Bidding was intense. The final hammer price, $7,800. The buyer was a museum curator building an exhibit on mint history and mechanical evolution. Harold's coin would be displayed alongside other legendary errors, its story preserved for future generations. But the final twist came months later. During a routine scan of mint archives, Linda uncovered a memo from 1964 referencing a temporary die pairing used during press calibration. The memo listed die numbers, and one matched the die markers on Harold's coin. It was the missing link, the confirmation that the coin had been struck during a calibration run, using dies that were never meant for full production. Harold's coin wasn't just an error. It was a calibration strike that escaped into circulation, a ghost from the mint's hidden history. The discovery redefined the coin's significance. It wasn't just rare, it was singular. A coin that bridged the gap between routine production and experimental calibration, between official policy and practical necessity. And in its copper core, it carried more than metal. It carried the weight of decisions made under pressure, the fingerprints of technicians working against time, and the quiet resilience of a collector who refused to overlook the details. Harold still collects, still sorts through rolls with the same quiet determination. But he knows that some coins aren't just found. They're revealed, layer by layer, until their story is too compelling to ignore. In the 1964 D. Lincoln cent he discovered remains a testament to that truth. That even in the most ordinary of years, the mint's machines can whisper secrets to those who know how to listen. The Denver Mint in 1992 was a place of quiet transformation. As the U.S. Mint phased out copper-based cents in favor of zinc with copper plating, technicians struggled with the new composition's quirks. The 1992 D. Lincoln cent was among the first struck with these experimental alloys, and in the rush to meet production quotas, something extraordinary slipped through quality control. A single die, overused and improperly maintained, began striking coins with a peculiar anomaly. One so subtle, it would take nearly a decade for collectors to recognize its significance. The error wasn't flashy like an off-center strike or a broad strike. Its value lay in its deceptive normalcy, a secret hidden in plain sight. The discovery came from an unlikely source, a convenience store clerk in Tulsa, Oklahoma, counting the days till in 1998. As she stacked pennies, one 1992, D specimen caught the light differently. The date looked slightly distorted, the 9 appearing to have a faint shadow. Curious, she held it under the store's fluorescent lights, rotating it until the doubling became unmistakable, not just on the date, but across Lincoln's profile and the "In God We Trust" motto. Her hands trembled as she slipped it into her pocket, unaware she had just uncovered one of the rarest modern cent errors. Initial reactions from the numismatic community were dismissive. The 1990s weren't known for dramatic mint errors, and many experts assumed it was post-mint damage or machine doubling, a common byproduct of die wear. But as more examples surfaced, each showing identical doubling patterns, collectors realized this was no ordinary flaw. By 2002, only about 30 examples have been authenticated, suggesting an error rate of less than 1 in 10 million coins. The mystery deepened when metallurgical analysis revealed these error cents had a slightly different zinc-to-copper ratio than standard 1992 D issues, a clue pointing to a specific batch of planchets used during a narrow production window. The market's response was slow but explosive. The first authenticated sale in 2000 brought $150, a fortune for a penny. By 2005, prices had climbed to $1,200 for well-preserved examples. Then came the watershed moment. A PCGS-graded MS 65 red specimen sold for $5,000 in 2008, followed by another reaching $12,000 in 2012. The record shattered in 2019 when a spectacular example showing extreme doubling across all lettering realized $25,000 at auction. But the real twist came when advanced imaging technology revealed these weren't traditional double dies at all. They represented a hybrid error combining characteristics of doubling and die deterioration, a phenomenon never before documented in modern minting. Under microscopic examination, the 1992 D error reveals its secrets reluctantly. The most pronounced doubling appears on the date and motto, with secondary images offset by approximately 0.2 millimeters at a 10-degree northeast angle. Lincoln's profile shows subtle duplication around the jawline and eye, while the reverse exhibits minor doubling on the memorial steps. Unlike classic double dies, the effect isn't uniform. Some letters show partial duplication, others appear stretched, suggesting the die was warping during use. This peculiar trait became the key authentication marker, as counterfeiters couldn't replicate the specific directional flow of the metal. The ultimate revelation came from a retired Mint employee who recalled the incident. In August 1992, a press malfunction caused a die to strike coins at an uneven pressure, creating the doubling effect. The error was caught after just 90 minutes, but not before an estimated 15,000 to 20,000 effective coins entered circulation. Most were likely melted when discovered, but a handful slipped through, making them some of the rarest modern cents in existence. Today, the 1992 D double die Lincoln cent stands as one of the most coveted modern errors. Prices have stabilized between $8,000 to $15,000 for average specimens, while superb gems command five-figure sums. But what truly captivates collectors is the unanswered question: how many more remain undiscovered in rolls, jars, and coin-operated machines? Unlike classic rarities hunted for decades, these pennies are so new that most non-collectors wouldn't recognize their significance. The story of the 1992 D Lincoln cent isn't just about a minting mistake. It's a testament to how, even in our age of precision engineering, human error and mechanical failure can create accidental treasures. For collectors, the thrill comes from knowing that in any ordinary penny, there might still lurk one of these rare errors, waiting for the right person with the right tools to uncover its secrets. And in an era where cash transactions are declining, the 1992 D error serves as a reminder that real-world treasure hunts still exist, if you know where to look. The Denver Mint in 2017 was a place of quiet precision, its high-speed presses churning out millions of zinc-coated Lincoln cents daily. As the final year of the Lincoln Shield reverse design, these coins were meant to be utterly ordinary, just another workhorse of American commerce. But in March of that year, something went terribly wrong with die number 4 on press number 3. A minuscule misalignment during the hubbing process created an error so subtle that it would take 3 years for even the most eagle-eyed collectors to notice. The conditions were ripe for mistakes. New technicians being trained on older equipment, a rush production schedule to meet national coin demand, and quality control systems that hadn't been updated since 2012. No one noticed when a batch of about 15,000 defective coins slipped into circulation, their flaws invisible to the naked eye. The discovery came from an unlikely source, a 10-year-old boy in Omaha, Nebraska, sorting through a $25 bank box of pennies in 2020. As he stacked the coins in Whitman folders, 2017, D specimen felt different, the edges slightly sharper, the surface oddly textured under his thumb. His father, a part-time coin collector, initially dismissed it as imagination until the boy insisted they check under his USB microscope. At 40x magnification, the truth emerged. Lincoln's profile showed dramatic doubling on the jawline and eye, while the shield stripes appeared blurred. Most astonishing was the date. The 7 had a distinct secondary image floating slightly northeast. This wasn't post-mint damage or die deterioration. It was a true double die, the first significant one discovered for the 2017 D issue. Initial reactions from the numismatic community ranged from skepticism to outright denial. The 2010s were supposed to be the era of flawless minting, where such errors were caught by computerized inspection systems. But as more examples surfaced, each showing identical doubling patterns, collectors realized the Denver Mint's quality control had failed spectacularly. By 2021, only about 24 examples have been certified, suggesting an error rate of less than 0.0001%. The mystery deepened when metallurgical analysis revealed these error sands had slightly different zinc/copper layering than standard 2017 D issues. Evidence they came from a single malfunctioning press during a 47-minute production window. The market's response was slow but explosive. The first authenticated sale in March 2021 brought $300, astronomical for a modern cent. By August, prices reached $1,500 for uncirculated examples. Then came the auction that changed everything. A PCGS-graded MS 67 red specimen sold for $8,250 in January 2022, making national news. But the real twist came when forensic numismatists examined the die markers. This wasn't a traditional double die caused by misaligned hubbing. It was something never before documented, a lateral shear doubling, where the die had partially fractured during striking, creating overlapping images that shifted based on striking pressure. Under microscopic examination, the 2017 D error reveals its secrets reluctantly. The most pronounced doubling appears on Lincoln's jaw and the motto, "In God We Trust," with secondary images offset by 0.3 millimeters at a 15-degree northeast angle. The shield's vertical stripes show a peculiar stair-step effect, while the date's doubling is most visible on the 7 and 1. Remarkably, the obverse and reverse doubling don't align, proof this was caused by a die that warped during use rather than a hubbing error. The ultimate revelation came from a retired Mint quality control officer who recalled the incident. On March 17, 2017, press number 3 had experienced a hydraulic surge that went unreported because the supervising engineer was training a new technician. The die, already near the end of its lifespan, developed a hairline fracture that created the doubling effect. By the time the error was noticed during routine inspection, an estimated 12,000 to 18,000 effective coins had been mixed into bulk shipments. Rather than risk a public recall, management quietly retired the die, a decision that inadvertently created a modern numismatic legend. Today, the 2017 D double die cent occupies a unique place in error coin lore. Prices have stabilized between $3,000 to $5,000 for average examples, while top-graded specimens command $10,000 plus. But what truly captivates collectors is the unanswered question: how many more remain undiscovered in rolls, jars, and coin-operated machines? Unlike classic rarities that have been hunted for decades, these pennies are so new that most non-collectors wouldn't recognize their significance. The story of the 2017 D Lincoln cent isn't just about a minting mistake. It's a testament to how, even in our age of digital precision, mechanical failures and human decisions can create accidental treasures. For collectors, the thrill comes from knowing that in any ordinary penny, there might still lurk one of these rare errors, waiting for the right person with the right tools to uncover its secrets. And in an era where cash transactions are declining, the 2017 D error serves as a reminder that real-world treasure hunts still exist, if you know where to look.